So they actually, I was very surprised. They didn't have that much merch. I don't think it was because it was sold out or anything by the time I got there, because me and my friend went to two different places. My favorite cinema, it's called Wald, like WALD 9 in Shinjuku, but then in Japanese they call it Baruto, like Bart Simpson. So I don't know what's the correct pronunciation. I'm just gonna say Wald 9 because that's what it says in the English. That's my favorite cinema, but it was like sold out when I went to go book Barbie tickets for that one, which I was very surprised because we waited like a week. We didn't go to see it on opening day. Well, I did. Don't tell her, but I saw it before her in Chofu because there's always seats in my local cinema since it's a less populated area. But yeah, so I went to see it with her like a week after the opening day in Shinjuku. It was sold out at the cinema that I wanted to go to. So then in the same area, there's only Toho cinemas left, which like this is the Godzilla one that everyone knows. It's the one with the big Godzilla in the background. I'm not like a fan of the area, but whatever, it was open, so we went to this one. But then after we finished the movie, we went back to Wald 9 cinema just to see, because they usually have like better merch there. I don't know, that place, I like Wall 9 because it's a lot more understated. It's like more chill, kind of hidden away in the ninth floor of this department building. So yeah, they usually have more stuff, and I saw that there was the same merch available at both stands, and it was just not okay. The Barbie movie merchandise as a whole, I'm a little bit confused about. Like, I wonder if it's because, does the IP licensing for Barbie work differently than other brands? Because like I was just very underwhelmed, not just with the Japanese stuff, but all of the Barbie collaborations that I've been seeing across the board, like all the makeup collaborations, the clothing collaborations with like, what is it, H&M or Zara, I was very underwhelmed, and I felt like the designs were all so underwhelming and lacking. And I just can't help but think, is that because like, are they just super strict over at Mattel of what kind of designs that collaborators can come up with? Or were they just like super pressed for time that they didn't have time to even come up with anything innovative? I would have thought that the creative teams would have gone crazy with the Barbie theme. Like, there's so much that you can do, but the stuff that I've seen so far, it's just very, very like head scratching. So anyway, I got the Barbie movie booklet. So in Japan, I don't know if they do this in other countries, but they always come out with like a booklet showing behind the scenes and making of stuff with the movie. I got the booklet for Elvis as well, so I won't buy the booklet unless I really, really feel a connection to the movie, unless I'm really vibing with it. The collabs are so boring. I love that the theaters have merch. Do they not have merch in the US? They definitely didn't when I was a teenager, but I haven't lived in the US for over a decade, so I'm wondering, I feel like it only makes sense if they start to do that, right? Because they would only stand to gain more profits, but I guess no, they don't. Okay, yeah, interesting. If there's one thing Japan's gonna do, Japan is gonna merch. This is the booklet. You see how shiny it is? There's like glitter all over. Just a feast for the eyes. This is that iconic scene where she steps off of her slipper and her foot is still in the heeled position. All of these scenes where they're traveling from Barbie Land to the real world, I was watching the behind the scenes like videos on YouTube of how they made this, and none of this was CGI. Can you believe it? So they actually built all of these sets, and they had people, like members of the staff, moving around parts to give it like a diorama effect. Do you guys remember dioramas? Like, we used to make those in elementary school. Yeah, like this one. I think this one was, they said it was the most difficult one to pull off when they're in the water. Like these waves that you see here, this is not CGI generated. These are actual layers of waves that they had. Members of the crew would be pulling them back and forth to give the illusion of them traveling on water. This is from the opening scene, the iconic original Barbie look in her swimsuit. I feel like her face was weird in this original doll because they copied, or like they took inspiration from this German doll, right? I forget the name. One of the things I like most about the Barbie movie is how practical everything was done. It was fun seeing a movie made like that. I 100% agree. And you know what vibes it gave me? It was totally giving me Zoolander vibes. Like within the first 5 minutes, I had the feeling that, oh, this is gonna be the next Zoolander iconic cult film of our generation, right? Obviously the set design and everything, it was super modern, it was state of the art, and you felt like it was a modern movie, but the style, it really felt like a throwback to that type of Zoolander. Not just the aesthetics, like it was, you know, drenched in Technicolor, everything was like super bright colors, which is, of course, that's on brand for Barbie, but it reminded me, when was Zoolander? 2001? The late 90s, early 2000s, that type of aesthetic. But then also the story itself is just so kitschy. It's fun, you know? It's very unabashedly like a fun, girly, pink, loud movie. It's not trying to be super serious or something that it's not, which is why, and I'm gonna get into this after I finish my pasta when I get into the actual review, which is why I find it so hilarious that so many people are like losing their shit over this movie, thinking that it's like anti-men or, you know, more feminist propaganda. I'm like, okay, have we watched the same movie? Because if you watched it, you would know that it's like, it's a very silly film. It doesn't take itself seriously. It actually makes fun of itself several times throughout the movie. If you're triggered by it, then it just kind of proves what the movie is trying to say in the first place. Also, with the homage to the classic films, like the opening scene is a homage to 2001 Space Odyssey. Yeah, I think that so like I never really watched many of Stanley Kubrick's films. I think I watched maybe an excerpt from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because they made us do it in English class or something back in high school, but I never watched The Shining. I'm not into horror, you guys know that. And I never really, yeah, I never watched the Space Odyssey one, but I feel like Greta Gerwig is a huge fan because she also put in a Shining reference, like when they're in the car with Barbie, and then the daughter is like, "Are you guys shining? Like, are you serious? My mom is shining with a real life Barbie." I thought that was pretty funny. Even though I never saw the movie, I got the reference. These are some facts about Barbie, 15 facts about Barbie. I thought all the Kens were so funny. I love the Ken fashion in this movie. I feel like this is going to jumpstart like a new fashion trend for the guys. It's gonna be more acceptable for them to wear bright colors and like just neon combinations and brighter patterns. I thought this Ken was so cute. What's his name? Kingsley Ben-Air, I think. This was Ryan Gosling's BFF, Ken, and I thought he was so cute. Oh my god. He was just so like wholesome and just there to support his buddy, there to hold his ice cream for him, to hold his champagne cup as the Ryan Gosling Ken tried to go impress Margot Robbie Barbie. Will Ferrell, of course, like when I saw when they had the first scene of the Mattel boardroom and I saw Will Ferrell front and center at the table as the CEO, I was like, of course. Who else are they going to cast for the CEO of Mattel? It's almost like too cliche that you almost feel like maybe they could have gone with a different actor just to be different. But no, there is really no other choice but Will Ferrell. And why does he look exactly the same as he did in Zoolander? So like speaking of Zoolander, he was Mugatu, right? The evil fashion designer. Why did he like not change whatsoever since 2001? How old is Will Ferrell? Gotta be in his 60s, right? Oh, he's 56? Oh, wow. He looks older than 56. I do not mean that as a diss. I mean, it doesn't really matter for men. So that means that he must have been like, Zoolander was 2001. So he would have been 34 in Zoolander, which is my age now. I just had my birthday on August 5th, so I just turned 34. I do not accept that Will Ferrell was the same age as me when he played Mugatu. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But yeah, he looks exactly the same. I think it's because he also had like white blonde hair in that movie, so that's hilarious to me. And Weird Barbie. This is like Kate McKinnon, of course, was made to play that role. Okay, and then the only other thing I got was this notebook. I had to go to Plaza, so this was not in the movie theater, but they had this design. So this says Barbie Land, but it's, you can see it's kind of like a university crest design. And they had post-it notes at the movie theater, but I always buy those. It looks like this. I feel like it's the same company that produces all of these, but like for example this Mofusando post-it collection, and it always comes in this format with the 4 different designs. So I have this one, and then I got one for Little Mermaid as well, but then I realized that I never really use these. Like case in point, you see it's still in its wrapping, so I decided to pass on the Barbie one. Yeah, I'm not 100% crazy about this design, but it was the only one that they had. So again, I'm kind of thrown for a loop because I would think that they would just, you know, the creative teams at the merchandising companies would go crazy, just go bananas with the Barbie IP, but it's not really been the case from what I saw. Like, it's cute, but I would have liked to see something that was more obviously from the actual movie, right? Because that's the whole point of merch. I mean, you can buy any type of Barbie paraphernalia at any random time of the year, but the Barbie 2023 movie is only going to come around once, right? So I want something to commemorate that in particular, but this was the only thing that they had, so it's cute. Oh, and it's graph paper. I'm not the biggest fan of graph paper. I wish that this would have just been regular lined paper, but yeah, whatever. Another manifestation notebook I can always use. I have the opposite problem. I use post-it notes like crazy. It's not post-its actually. So like there's no sticky part to it. It's just little memo pads. You know, they're cute. Like oh, there's more than 4. Okay, I thought there was 4. Yeah, there's 6. So I feel like it's the same company that makes all of these. Enski Japan. Yeah, Ensky. And like it's super cute. It's a great way to make money, I guess. You look at it and you feel like, oh yeah, I get 6 designs in one. Who doesn't need memos? But then it's actually, I struggle to find a real use for them when I actually get home. Because most of my writing I do in my notebooks or my planners, so